Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. You know it. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, today I've got some stories to do with Britney Spears. And they're kind of heartfelt stories. As usual, I'm going to talk just a little bit about my thoughts on them and how some experiences that I've had. Very little, though. These three stories have to do with the upcoming book. I have to read this. I love reading, and I'm going to read this. The book's called The Woman in Me, her upcoming memoir. And some of the stories, some of the information in there has leaked out according to sources, and the links will be down below. And they're kind of heartfelt. I look at Britney Spears differently now than I did. I'll talk about that in one of these stories. If you had told me even a year ago that I'd be sitting here doing Britney Spears stories, talking about Britney Spears and and her her trials and tribulations, if you had told me that I'd be sitting here doing this, I would have asked you what happened in my life that I'd be doing Britney Spears stories. Nothing against her, but I just never I never saw myself sitting here talking about a book called The Woman in Me and talking about Britney Spears. I actually bought some Britney Spears CDs, and I bought Aaron Carter CDs because I've done a lot of. I'm going to do another upcoming video on Aaron Carter because he got his headstone recently. I might as well put that link down below if I could find it. He got a headstone for his grave, and it's a nice story, I guess. Okay, now on to Britney Spears. Okay, there's two or three stories here that I want to talk about that supposedly that's been leaked out that's in this upcoming book. Also, in this first story, I gotta watch. There's a particular word that I don't like using, especially because my channel's monetized, and it's a touchy subject. So I'm gonna say like ending a pregnancy or the procedure. That's what I'm gonna call it. I'm not gonna use the A word because it can be touchy with a monetized channel. Just that's how I'm gonna handle this. Okay, so in this upcoming memoir, supposedly she was dating. I never knew any of this stuff. She was dating. Well, I knew she was dating Justin Timberlake, but she was dating Justin Timberlake from 1999 to 2002, and supposedly she got pregnant by Justin. And like I said, this is in the upcoming memoir. And like I said, this is all just rumors of what's in this book, so it's not like solid yet, but supposedly this is in the upcoming memoir. And it says Britney was raised very religious, and they had conversations about this. I think they were only 19 years old. This was in late 2000. Britney found out she was pregnant, supposedly, and Justin felt they were way too young, and at 19 they were conflicted, and they chose to end the pregnancy. And there's going to be another link down below. I've never heard this song. I think it's called Every Time. And this is another story that I'll have to link down to below. And a lot of fans have looked, have kind of taken apart the lyrics and thought that, in a lot of fans, Britney Spears fans, opinions, that this song Every Time, I'll have the link to this down below. I'll put the link to the song in case you haven't heard it either. It's got to do with her feelings about Justin and this supposed pregnancy that she had. To be honest, I remember a picture popped into my head, and the same thing happened to me. I've never talked to anybody about this. My thoughts on this have changed over the years. Back when I was younger, I've always been a liberal Democrat. Well, more so in my later years. And back in my younger years, I was always 100%. I'm still always 100% for freedom of choice. Women have complete control over their bodies. When I was younger, though, I really just saw it as a procedure. But now, I'll be honest, I don't want to get into a big discussion about this, but now that I've gotten older, I kind of second guess. I look back and I remember standing next to my car at a fair, and I remember the girl that I had been living with, that I'd been dating for a long time, one of the 4 women that I talked about that I've loved with all my heart, and she told me she was pregnant. We were at a fair, and we were outside in the parking lot, and it was in a grassy field, and we were leaning against my car, and she told me that she was pregnant. And I remember having the exact same conversation as this. You know, that was 30 years ago. And over 30 years ago, about 35 years ago. And I still remember this conversation as clear as if it was just yesterday. And because it was just a life-changing moment, you know. And at the time, I didn't realize it. And she told me she was pregnant. And I started to actually picture myself as a father, you know. And I accepted it. I won't get too into this because it's personal and it involves somebody else. It involves somebody else who doesn't have the opportunity to talk on this channel right now. So I'm not going to get too into it. But the choice was made to not go through with it. And to be honest, to this day, especially since I was about 50 years old, especially in the last couple of years, I've really thought back to that moment and how much different my life would be. And I don't want to say I'm having second thoughts, or kind of regrets, honestly. I wouldn't call it regrets, but I just wonder how much different my life would be. And I feel more serious about that choice that we made on that day, how serious it was. I see it a lot differently 35 years later, now that I'm older. And now that if I had a child, I'd probably actually be a grandfather now. I'm getting goosebumps. This freaks me out. So this story reminds me of something exactly that I went through. And I just got this picture, this memory in my head from that conversation 35 years ago that I had, just like it describes Britney and Justin having in this story. Okay, now enough talk about that. Now, there's another story down below. This is kind of interesting. It's about her shaved head, okay? This was in February 2007. And I remember seeing this. That was, 16 years ago. And I remember seeing this on the news. And at the time, I thought, oh my God, I kind of laughed at it back then. And, you know, because I had a different... I really think I see that I'm still growing mentally, emotionally, and everything. Back then, I kind of laughed at it, and I was like, "Oh my God, Britney's out of her mind. She must be on drugs." This is right when I first got clean and sober, because I'm coming up on 17 years clean and sober next week. So I had just been my first year clean and sober, and I thought she was using, and you know, I was like, "Oh my God, she's crazy," because I remember seeing the pictures of her inside the barbershop, with her just shaving her freaking hair off. And then I remember seeing pictures of her. She was next to, I think it was a VW Bug, and she was swinging at the photographers with the umbrella. You guys remember those videos? I'll see if I could find them, but I doubt I could find those. And back then, I thought she was, she's crazy. She's lost her freaking mind, you know? Now I see it differently, and she talks about this in the book, in her memoir. She talks about the conservatorship and how I could understand it from both points of view. Because from her father's a bit, like, because in her father's mind, she was out of control, and she was destroying her image and her what made her famous and what made her so much money, her body, her image, and everything like that. So the conservatorship took control of that. And in Britney Spears' opinion, in her words, they took in complete control over her body, the way her hair, they were telling her how she had to lose weight, what she had to do, how she had to eat, everything, the medication she had to take. And this, she talks about this was her just revolting, just saying no way, and F you, man, and I could relate to that. That sounds like something I would have done in my younger years. Now I have a hard time imagining anybody trying to take control of letting anybody take control of my life, getting to the point where somebody else would be controlling my life. But I look at it differently now. I do. I totally understand what she did. I could actually see myself doing that in her position. Saying no. Just I've had enough, and I'll do whatever I want with my body. And that's when she shaved her head. And I could even understand her, swinging at the paparazzis with the umbrella and everything. So, and I could completely understand her going in the barbershop and all that, I see it a lot differently now. So in a way, doing these Britney Spears videos has kind of made me grow a little bit. So, hey, you gotta, I've learned to always look at things from different sides, from different angles. All right, so those are the links, those are the stories. Links will be down below. I've got to read this Britney Spears memoir, The Woman in Me. I never would have thought myself, I never thought I'd be doing a video talking about the woman in me. All right, I'll be back later with another video, you guys. Have a great Wednesday.